the Maxim. So Maxim number 71. When a girl signals that she doesn't enjoy blowjobs or sex, do not spend 1 second more with her. Your libido is too important to gamble on such a girl. So true.
I'd say 80% of the people that reach out to us, at some point, either they went into a relationship where the sex drives didn't match. The girl was admittedly, openly not enthusiastic about sex in general.
Man.
That's her room temperature. I mean, or the sex had gone bad. Sex in a relationship is the foundation. It's what makes your relationship with your wife or your girlfriend completely different than any other relationship that you have with any other women in your life. It's what makes it day to day. You know, so you have to realize, and I thought it was very interesting because the first time I really thought about how foundational the sex drive and the sex matching is was with that Maxim many years ago. I already thought sex is important to me, but when you really realize, like, you can save yourself a lot of grief by avoiding that. You know, I always say it's probably like 20% are not that interested, 60% are open to suggestion, and it depends on the guy, and 20% are high drive no matter who's in front of them. You know, and that might be, you know, very generous, you know, maybe even smaller than that. But unfortunately, a lot of guys that are normal guys end up with that low 20%, or they think it's okay, or they think.
I think a lot of guys fall under the slippery slope of thinking that the girl's high sex drive for that first, like that trial period, is naturally going to last forever. But then everyone kind of gets comfortable, everybody kind of sinks into a routine. He might notice that it's kind of slipping off, that she's not trying as hard, that, you know, whatever the case may be, but they're just not having as much sex, you know. And he does. He says, well, you know, she's chasing kids all day. She's busy with her job. She's tired. She hasn't been feeling well. Most men believe all of the excuses that women give as to why they don't feel like having sex, when really it's just that they didn't have a terribly high sex drive to begin with, and he didn't, from the very beginning, make it very clear that sex is a key component to this working.
Exactly. I mean,
because women will, like, if they know that's a standard, if they want to stay in that relationship, they know where the standards are. Most of the time, they'll maintain them, and they respect him more for it. Yeah,
I agree with that. I mean, that may be the key to this. Well, one is, if you do find a girl that's not enthusiastic about, it's better to replace her very early on.
Right.
As soon as you hear this, notice what he says. As soon as they send that signal out, you've got to cut it off. You do not want to go deeper or spend another minute, as he says, with a woman who is not enthusiastic about sex, because you will suffer. And like he says, it's not worth the risk.
Yeah.
You can possibly improve it, but the likelihood is not. And then the pain and time and energy required isn't always worth, you know, the outcome, when you could be with somebody who's more evenly matched.
And make no mistake, you're not invested in this girl yet. Most of the girls who will say things like that, who will indicate that they just aren't into it, that the sex isn't that important, that they don't like blowjobs, that on and on and on and on and on. It's pretty early in the relationship. They're usually kind of trying to qualify.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I think they're trying to let guys know what their limits are early.
Yeah.
That way he can bail if he needs to, which he needs to, you know.
Exactly. But it truly is one of those things where you don't have kids with this woman yet, likely. I mean, most likely in these situations, you're not really invested yet.
And that's the idea, is it is a key qualifier that if you don't match, move on quickly, because nothing good can come out of this. I mean,
it's true.
So much hinges on that. In general counseling, you know, friends and family will say, it's not that important. It's something that can be worked around. But we know, especially if you're in this world,
Yeah.
it is a key component to your happiness and health. Because there are, I mean, the vast majority of guys are pretty happy with very lukewarm, lights off missionary. And it's hard for you guys to like picture that because it's so foreign to you. But that is the vast majority.
Yeah.
The vast majority, again, you can look around, the vast majority of people are fat. The vast majority of people are dumb.
Yeah.
You know?
And again, if guys are great with like quiet missionary in the dark, but are getting it regularly and
yes,
and they have a good connection, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, but I think the main point here is if she's not kind of fitting the mold that you need her to fit for your happiness,
mm-hmm.
you know, frequency, intensity, enthusiasm, you know, whatever your level is that you need from her to feel, you know, satisfied, then
right.
then that's what we need to focus on.
And it's just as important. I don't think it's emphasized enough. People are always looking at like, does he like dogs, or are they evenly matched on income or expectations or how many kids they want? When sex is a major driver and a major point of contention,
yeah,
you know, they can have the same, they can agree on kids and, you know, what kind of car to buy and where to live and his parents. But if the sex is trash,
yeah,
then you have all kinds of problems because the solution usually means like infidelity, all kinds of messiness. When in the very beginning, she would have said, you know, I don't like blowjobs. And you could have said, oh, yeah, okay. And then like never call her again.
yeah.
And then everybody be happier today.
Yeah.
You know, so
It's true.
you have the power.
Well, and the second slide is in the same vein. Want to know how healthy your relationship? Check how consistent, frequent, hot, and fun your sex life is.
And I was on the phone with a guy earlier this week that his wife was a lot of problems, but that was still solid.
Yeah.
Which means it can be held together.
Exactly.
He was like, I got no problem with her in bed. She like does everything I ask.
Yeah.
She's like a robot that I programmed. I have no complaints. And it keeps you together.
Yeah.
Through the bad times.
It's true.
You know,
it's
where
very
like
true.
She's overspending or you've lost your job or whatever may be going on.
Yeah.
To aggravate your relationship. But the sex is still hot. It holds people together.
Well, it truly, when the sexual relationship is strong, I've always said that it's so much easier to stand united in every other way. You know, the kids are acting up. They don't really try and play a couple who has that strong connection. Kids don't tend to try to play those parents against each other.
No.
You know, if something comes up, if a financial issue comes up, they're connected on the deepest level, and therefore they tend to agree and go along with a lot of other things. So it does make it a lot more salvageable.
Oh, for sure.
Like, you know.
Yeah. It's easier to manage. You have a better foundation.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, you handsome devil.
Next slide.
That's the real deal.